Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, ladies and gentlemen. Wherever you are in the world today, I hope that you are doing great. Hope that all is pleasant for you. And most importantly, my friends, I hope that you are in good health. Once again, my friends, welcome to the Common Sense channel. On this channel, my friends, we get to talk about those things that people know, that people have thought about, but don't often have the time to discuss. These are, my friends, the things we discuss here on the Common Sense channel. So once again, welcome to the Common Sense channel. As I've always done every month, come on this channel, on this platform, I honor the ancestors. I honor them because they are you. They are me, and we are them. Every generation must have come from somewhere. And the generation before that generation must have come from somewhere. And you can go all the way back. And it's so simple because without the generation before this generation, there won't be this generation. That's what I'm saying. So those people, my friends, are your ancestors. So if you watch my videos, like those that follow me, watch my videos, those that support, those that are subscribed to my channel, they know I do this every month. Your ancestors, my friends, are those who you came from. Their blueprint is you. Their genetic makeup is you. Their DNA is you. Their gene is you. In fact, they live in you, and you is them. Understand? It's because of you that they will live forever. So anytime you honor your ancestors, you are basically honoring yourself. Simple as that. But if you don't honor your ancestors, you don't show them reverence, your own generation will not honor you. Simple as that. And that's sad. Because you didn't teach your generation, your children, the significance of honoring the people that brought you into this world. So honor them, my friends. If you want to be wise, if you want to be intelligent, if you want to be great, if you want to find your way in life, honor the ancestors. Understand? The ancestors' works are collective work. Look, in order for you, we all depend on each other one way or the other. If you engage in global trade, you would know everything has to work together to make the world flow. It's not just one thing. It's not one person. Everyone. It's the same thing with society. Society has to work collectively for everything to go smooth, copacetically. You understand? It's the word. So it's the same thing with our ancestors. So when we call on them, we're calling on all of them. Don't matter where they are. We're calling on them. Because if you trace your generation, you'll be surprised how connected they are. They're like a tree with the roots all over, just spreading all over the soil or in the ground. Some go deep into the ground. Some spread on the surface. Some spread beneath the surface. Different layers. You will see that your generation has layers too. So that's why I honor them. I honor them because without them, we're nothing. They will live in us. We will live in our own children. And our own children will live in their children. That's how it works. So at the end of the day, we will continue to live forever. It's generational. Isn't that what they say? It's generational. So that's what I do here. It takes a emancipated mind. It takes a free mind to understand these things. And that's what they've hidden from you. Your greatness lies in these things, such as honoring your ancestors. So please, if you're out there, you don't need to do much. Just say thank you. Pour libation to them. It can be water, it can be anything that you like. Give it to them. You know what they like. See, that's why it's always good for parents to pass down the history of their lineage, their generation to their children. So their children will pass down that information to their own children, and their own children will pass it down. It's called oral history. Oral history is the oldest history on the planet. Every civilization that I know, that I have studied, have done oral history, passing it down from one generation to another. Even during slavery, it was done that way. Understand? Passing down history, passing down things that they knew as far as medicines, as far as innovation, creativity, passing it down orally to one generation to another. And that's what we see today, our world. So we must never forget these people. And that's why I do honor them. So today I want to focus on Africa. I'm going to be doing it different now because I'll pick a country and just focus on that country. So today we're going to talk about Mali. I pray that the ancestors watch over Mali. I pray that the ancestors continue to safeguard the people of Mali. I pray that the ancestors continue, wherever you are, great ancestors, continue to unite the people of Mali. Their fight is a just fight. Their fight is an honorable fight. Their fight is a fight for justice. It's a fight for peace. It's a fight for equality. It's a fight for sovereignty. It's a fight that says, stay out of our country, all of you European greedy colonialists. Stay out of our country. You've said too many things about the people of Mali. You've said too many things about the country of Mali. When I look at Mali, I see Africa. Whatever is happening in Mali today is happening in Africa. So, Senegal, the Gambia, Mauritania, Morocco, Niger, Algeria, you guys should support the people of Mali. Niger, I know Niger is on board. I know Burkina Faso is on board. Let me tell you why. Senegal. Because right next to you is Mali. Whatever instability happens in Mali, you hear they say Al-Qaeda. I saw on the news some French guy was talking about how France is heavily involved. And they even trace it back to colonial time. That's how bracing these people are. They don't hide. They tell you. See, the enemy of Africa, and I think Mali is going to expose the enemy of Africa. We know. We know why we have to leave our country and be talked down on and be disrespected. Let me tell you, if you look at the food chain, I'm not trying to be derogatory, because I never disrespect. I will never disrespect Africans. I'll never disrespect anyone for that matter. I'll never disrespect any black man. But we have issues. And if you look at the food chain, Africans, not talking about black people in general, Africans, wherever you find yourself, especially those in the Western world or somewhere in the Caribbean, South America, you know how we're looked down on. You know the truth. You can have your PhD, your master's degree, whatever it is that you have. As long as you're African, you're always going to be looked down upon because you're at the bottom of the food chain. Some of you, your names alone already disqualify you. I'm not even going to talk about your accent. So the only thing you can do, and this is what the Malians are doing, is saying we have to bring dignity, respect to our people. That's all you can do. That's what the fight is about, Senegal. That's what the fight is about, the Gambia. That's what the fight is about, the Moroccans, Morocco, the Algerians. You know, I'm not going to talk much about Algeria. Algeria, you have the history of France in your hands, not the people of France, the government of France. Why would France fight? Because France see Africans, especially the Francophone countries, as little kids. You understand? We grew up in families where we grew up. By the time we turn, and some of our parents don't even want us to leave their home until some of us are married. If you're female, you're stuck in there. Some families don't even want you to leave until someone can put a ring on your finger. And that's the African tradition. But France don't want you to go. I would say France because I know. It's evidence now. Because even their own news are reporting that France is involved. We know from time that France is involved. But I don't know why these parents don't want to let the child go. Isn't that what parents are supposed to do? France, if you pride yourself as the father, if you want to call yourself, we don't see you as that. You're not a father of no African countries. You don't own no country in Africa. Mali belongs to the Malian people. Gambia belongs. Gabon, I mean not Gambia. Gabon belongs to the Gabonese. You understand? Algerians belong to the Algerians. Guinea belongs to the Guineans. Cote d'Ivoire Ivory Coast belong to the Ivorians. Don't belong to France. But the French people belongs to France. At least the United Nations clarified that. We know you're not fighting for democracy in Africa. Democracy is not even practiced in your own country. Name one European countries now with the situation in Ukraine. We know they don't practice democracy. So why you want to spread this crap in Africa? When we talk of democracy, because we see the element. You cannot blindfold a person forever and expect them to remain blindfolded. You know, information is everywhere. You can learn these things for yourself. We now know, France, that all of Africa's problem is you. And all the colonialists and neo-colonialists out there. And let me tell you, all these African countries, if you go to sleep, pray. The world is changing. We live in a world right now, according to the New World Order by President Trump. Anything can happen to you. You understand? You're not safeguarded. Let me tell you, the more technology advances, the more the demand for raw material become ever needed or ever more needed. You understand? And once these things are needed, those weak countries in the world will always have instability. Like, forget about United Nations trash they be talking about world peace. They know as long these powerful nations need, France is not, as far as I'm concerned, France should never be in the as one of the top countries in the Security Council. France should never be in there Because that entire World War II, France did nothing. The only thing they did was sacrifice for themselves. France did nothing. Hitler marched into France in less than 2 weeks. Went up into the Eiffel Tower, stood up, looked around. No one did him nothing. The French cave. They're weak. If it wasn't for the gallant men of America and few blacks that stood up for the French, and when I say blacks, I'm talking about black American, I'm talking about black people across the globe, especially Africa, because they took most of their troops from these African countries. We know the history that saved the French people. I think the French people need to stand up, and I know some of them are doing it for Africa. Stand up for Africa. Because there are times when Africa stood up for you against that madman called Hitler, evil. He's a European too, colonialist, and a neo-colonialist. That's what Hitler was. But if you read the history, then you start to see. He also wanted to be left alone by colonialists too. He was trying to mind his business. But the power that runs this world couldn't be the French president that's involved. Couldn't be the French president. The person that are involved in all of this is not even France. But they will not let the African be. They don't mind looking at us as we're less than a human being. They don't mind talking down on us. Those of us that live in the Western world, we know what we go through. Even with a degree, it's nothing. Even with, you can be a PhD or whatever your degree is. As long as, that's why I keep saying, as long as that continent is not respected, like what Mali is doing, to bring back their respect and say, we're going to stand up. And let me tell you, Goethe and all those gallant men that are standing up for the unity and the respect of Mali, history never will forget you. It's what history does. You see, during the European Civil War, aka World War II, you see all those resistance men and women that was fighting in Europe, especially in France, because the resistance, they started in France. And then it slowly moved into places like Germany, wherever the Nazis were. History never forget these people. Because these were ordinary men and women that say, I'd rather die than to live in tyranny. Today, they don't call it that. They call it terrorism. It's so saddening to me that it's not the French white citizens that are fighting in at least I haven't seen one yet. I saw one the last time. But those are people, that's not new. It's always been around. You're going to have one or two people they call them fortune soldiers. Soldiers of fortune. You're going to see them everywhere. But the people that are fighting the Malians are the Malians themselves, or outsiders. Because the Tuaregs are Malians. It's so ironic, and I'll give you the irony of this, because during slavery, it was Africans selling themselves for material things, selling their fellow black brothers and sisters to be enslaved or in slavery in the Western world. Today, the same Africans doing the same thing. They're selling their fellow black brothers and sisters through the hardship that they're creating for them in their own country, the food that they're eating, creating sickness and diseases that wasn't even on the continent, the education system that they're giving their fellow blacks. These are all forms of slavery. The hard condition, the killing, the stealing, the corruption, these are all forms of slavery. You understand? It's so ironic that the same thing that they did to their fellow blacks, brothers and sisters that were sold into slavery, to the Western world, don't matter where they are. It could be in the so-called Middle East, or Southeast Asia, Northeast Asia, West Asia, wherever around this world. It's the same thing they're doing. It's just a different form of slavery. So the governments, the black Africans, they're making conditions so hard for the Africans. And you know what poverty does to the mind of any human being. Poverty is a disease of the mind. And how do you make people sick mentally? It's to oppress them, to make their living condition hell on earth. So that way they're susceptible to bribery, they're susceptible to corruption, they're susceptible to greed, they're susceptible to even selling their own brother and sister, including their own country, for materialism. That's exactly what's happening in Mali. You understand? But let me tell you, amongst the chaos, amongst all of these systems that are destroying the African continent, to want the African man with a degree to want to leave his own beloved country when he can stay there and make life better, provide his service, his intelligence, his talent for his people. That's the reason why I'm here too. Not gonna lie. Had my country stayed what it was, if they're not fighting there, creating, because we had something in our country that they wanted. In fact, almost 500,000 people died for no reason. You understand? For no reason, just for diamonds. True. Diamonds. You see as nothing, but to them it's something. They want it. They don't have it. They want it. Colonialism. Remember now, colonialism was in Africa before they had to leave. They didn't kick them out. They're still there. When they were there, we're talking about 400 to 500 years now of them being there. They study the land. They know what the land has. They know everything. And if they want these things, where do you think they're going to go? And now if they have a strong man that say, you know what? Whatever in these lands, these waters, like in the case of Somalia, belongs to our people. You don't see no African going to France trying to get nothing from there. You understand? You don't see no Africans, but again, you don't blame them. You blame poverty of the mind. I call it poverty of the mind. Because if someone can be remotely somewhere and pay you to fight against your own brother, for what? Democracy? Do you think the so-called, I heard this French news, it was kind of translated to English. They have a French news. They don't talk about what's happening in Mali until if it suits their narrative. And they'll talk about it. But this time he was talking about how France is involved based on colonial connection. We know these things. That's what colonialism did to Africa. It planted the seed of these people. They educated some of these people in their schools. Some of these people that are fighting against the just cause of Mali and the people of Mali, they, my friend, had school in these European countries. They have their children, their houses, their entire existence in these countries. You understand? So for them, they can kill anyone in Mali. And on life, anyone in Mali, it's not going to mean nothing to them because none of their children are there. But for us, we understand. Any life lost in Mali is a life lost to the continent of Africa. It's a talent, it's a gift lost to the continent of Africa. So Mali is always going to be our mind. It's always going to be on my mind. I don't care. Africa is me, and I'm Africa. Can't take away that. That's why when I see the continent being disrespected, when I see us in the diaspora being disrespected, don't settle well with me, but that's the reality. It's our reality. And the only way you can change your reality is to change your mindset. The ancestors are appealing to us to do that. The ancestors are appealing to us to start to change the way we think, to be like the people of Mali, to be like the government of Mali that are fighting for dignity, respect, equality, self-dignity, self-respect. That's what they're fighting for. And I tell you what, they will succeed. They will not only succeed for the people of Mali, they, my friend, will succeed for Africa. And those colonialists and neo-colonialists, the enemy of Africa, the enemy of global peace, the enemy of humanity, will not allow that. You understand? But because they are using ourselves against ourselves, you understand? That's why we're in this situation. The only way we can dig ourselves out of the things, some of the things that are happening in Africa to the black race, is when we unite, when we come together. And that's what I pray to the ancestors, that all Malians, whether they live in the diaspora, whether they live on the continent, I don't even want to call them Malians, I just want to call them African or black people, Akiboland, should unite for the sake of their country. And I tell you, that's a fight that you must fight because it's just. Because a man that doesn't respect you will never respect your children and will never respect your wives. So if you're a man in Mali. This is your time to stand up. And when you exit this world, your children will come just like that general that was I think it's Saidu, I think Saidu is his name, Kamara, that was murdered. His children will never forget what he done, his sacrifice for his country. And that's what you must do every day. Those of us that are here in the diaspora, we understand these things. That no matter what we accomplish in the Western world, we're going to be nothing without the continent being respected. You understand? We're going to be treated, even if we have a PhD, even if whatever accomplishment we've accomplished in this world, in this part of the world, we're still going to be treated just as the continent is being treated. And that's why every month I come here, I pray to the ancestors, to their spirit, to their giant, relentless abilities to fight against the same injustice that we are fighting for. France does not own Mali. France don't own anything in Africa. I'll say France, not the people of France. Because the people of France are just people. But I can understand why the government of France is doing what it needs to do to survive. It's a reasonable thing. But there are ways you can do it. But again, as a thinker, had the Africans, the Malians, they didn't take anything from them or fight against their people, there won't be no insurrection. There won't be no terrorism in Africa. There won't be no terrorism in Mali. There won't be no fight in the first place. So at the end of the day, it's the people themselves that are fighting against themselves. When will the Africans learn from their mistakes? They saw an entire generations of black people into slavery. And they haven't even appeased or amended for that. And yet, they're still selling us into slavery. When a man has to cross the Gulf of Gibraltar and knowing the risk that he has to take or she has to take, that accident could happen, but they are willing to risk their lives to go to these countries. They are willing to risk their lives in the Sahara Desert, in hot heat, just to get to Europe. You know that hell is in Africa. You understand? You know that there's hopelessness, despair in Africa. And the country of Mali is trying to change that narrative, that Malian people are giant. Malian people will not be talked down to. Malian people are no one's slaves. That they were created by a God that serves all humanity. That a God that don't look at one race as superior over the other. A God that placed them on the earth to be powerful, to be great, to achieve great many things that any race of people has the potential to achieve. And for this month, prayer to the ancestors, I ask, great ancestors, that you continue to bless the people of Mali. I pray, great ancestors, that you continue to protect the leaders that are standing towards injustice, towards racism, towards exploitation of their lands, their minerals, and everything that you've blessed them with. I pray that you bless their leaders, protect them when they go to battles for their freedom and the liberation of their lands, their country, and ultimately the continent of Africa. That you be with them on the battlefield, great ancestors. You be with them as you was when you were fighting against the same colonialist agenda and evil against humanity. Because whatever is happening in Africa is evil against humanity. As one great man, Martin Luther King Jr. says, injustice in one place is injustice everywhere. And it's true in the case of Mali. So all those countries in that region of Africa, that would be West Africa, if you're looking at this situation and you're doing nothing to help the people of Mali, to stand with them in the fight for sovereignty, freedom, justice, and equality, and prosperity for their people and their country, if you are not helping them, you be next. The world order right now, world is not what you think. There's no how they call it, no law and order in the world right now. If you're not strong, you will be put on the table where all the powerful countries are dining. And let me tell you, they'll eat you. They'll eat you raw. And they would do it with impunity. And they'll look in your eye and say, what can you do about it? You understand? So stand with the people of Mali. And I know this month, as I pray to the ancestors, I know they are with them. They are with the people of the Sahel as well. That will be Mali, Niger, and Burkina Faso. These are individuals, great many men and people. All they need is unity. Mali will get to unity. And that unity is what's going to spread across. Mali is the last bastion of the country in the Sahel that needs to unite. Burkina Faso got it. Niger got it. But Mali must unite. Unite the people of Mali. The people of Mali needs to come together and show that unity is possible. And that's why we root for the Sahel to win. Because we want them to succeed. So that set the stage for Africa unity. Africa cannot unite by talking. Africa cannot unite by praying. Africa can unite by segmenting itself. Just like how they demarcated Africa, that's how Africa can unite right back. Has to break out all of those demarcation and see itself as one. And the Sahel states, and I know I'm talking about Mali, but the Sahel state is doing just that. And they'll win. Your enemies can try, but if your enemies does not see this unity in your ranks, in your country, there's no way they can succeed. And any European countries that are helping, I know Russia is doing something. There's something wrong with the Russians. They're helping us. I'm not afraid to say this. Why is it that the Russians, they don't practice democracy? At least Europeans don't call them a democracy. But why is it they're always on the opposite side? The Russians, I'm not just going to say Putin, that the people of Russia are standing with them. The people of Russia are standing with them. And just know, people in this country, in America, also stands with you. The American people are just people. The people of Mali, you need to know that they are seeing you struggle. Did you know that one time ago in history, the American people had to fight off colonialism? So they understand. Don't if you don't know this, the people of America had gone through the same thing that you were fighting for your freedom. Because that independence they give you, I don't know, I think 1960 or 61, 62, most countries in 61, 62, that was not independent. That was just play. This is the time you're fighting for your real independence. And just like your ancestor did, you cannot go to sleep with both eyes shut down. Even when you pray, keep all of them open. Because those who are trying to steal you or steal from you, their eyes are open, even when they're praying, even when they're sleeping. You understand? So you have to be strong. Be strong, the people of Mali. That's the prayer for Mali and for the ancestors this month. I want to thank all of our ancestors and honor them, who sacrificed their lives just to be respected, threw themselves overboard just so that they don't be slaves or abused in the Western world, or in someone's country, in other people's country, who took dignity over disrespect. And guess what? Their children are in Mali. Their children are in Niger. Those who threw themselves overboard, trying to come to the transatlantic slave trade, trying to come to the Americas, we ended up in South America, in the Caribbean. They said, no, I'd rather die. These were both men and women. These are the children in Africa, and they are fighting back. They said, I'd rather die than to be slaves to France. Anyone in between, anyone in the middle. We call you out, France, because we know. Again, not the people of France, but we can understand why these things are happening. Here's the thing, France. There's a way you can work with the people of Mali. And that way is to treat them as equal. You want something in their country? Talk to them. Colonialism is over, at least that's what they said. But why aren't you able to move on? If you're the parents, like you say you are, why can't you let your children go? Do you want them to be, 50 years old before you leave them? Or 100 years old? Or 200 years old? Do you keep your children in your house that long? Or do you let them go to be independent? So that way they don't have to ask you for food. They don't have to ask you to pay their rent, their bills. That's what parents do. They let the children go so that they can experience the world. Let them go. And when they come over, treat them as as a grown-up. Treat them as your children. Treat them as someone who is responsible, someone who is independent. They've let you run them, but not every generation gonna let you. Their fathers did that, but not all of them. There were people that fought back. There were ancestors that were not cowards. So it's time, France, that you either work with the Malians on an equal basis, or anyone outside of France, or France is taking the heat. Work with them. That should be the new world order. At least that's what Iran is fighting for. The same thing Mali is fighting for is the same thing Iran is fighting for. Or the people of Gaza or Lebanon, anywhere in the world is fighting for them to be treated as equal. That's a basic thing. For someone to say, you know what, you don't have to like me, but just treat me as equal. Respect. Do that, please. So all those ancestors that fought in the so-called World War II, I call it Civil War, I pray for you. I thank you for your sacrifices. I thank you for laying your life down. I know you went and fought thinking that your country, some of you came from Mali, some of you came from Burkina Faso, some of you came from Niger, some of you came from the Gabon, Cameroon, wherever you came from to fight. For what? Freedom or democracy. And guess what? Your people don't have that. Some of you die in Europe. I'm talking to you, ancestors. Stand with the people of Mali. Fight their battles. Give them the understanding, the knowledge to defeat these terrorists that look like them. Because they look just like them. The people I saw were not French citizens. You understand? They were not white men. They were not Europeans. They were Africans. They were Malians and some of the outside groups. When you hear Al-Qaeda, what do you think? Terror. To know that these people are encouraging them to fight for democracy. How can Al-Qaeda fight for democracy? You didn't think about that. But you see, when I tell you democracy doesn't exist, you don't believe. It's an illusion. It only suits the narrative of those who want to spread it. But in short, doesn't exist. When Al-Qaeda can be fighting in Mali for democracy, the world is done. It's done. That's where we are. So I know Russia is in there. I don't understand the philosophy of Russia. But from what I can see, when those people, they say you know your friends when you're in trouble. The people that stand with you when you're in trouble, those are your friends. Not only they are your friends, they are your family. And I pray, great ancestors, that you continue to protect each and every Malians on the continent, especially those in that country of Mali, those in Niger, those in Burkina Faso, and the entire continent, from anyone trying to oppress, steal, treat them as nothing. Because guess what? Without the continent of Africa, we're nothing. As long as that continent continue to have a bad narrative, we in the diaspora, wherever you are in this world, will always be seen as that, especially in this day and age of technological advances, where everyone can see anything everywhere. That would be our narrative. War, disease, corruption, chaos, killing, farming, when all of these things can be eradicated when we unite as one people, one continent. Great ancestors, let this be our prayer this month. Wherever you are, intercede on our behalf. Let the Almighty know that your children are fighting not just for their freedom, but they are fighting for the freedom of the continent of Africa. The things that you stood for, individual like Kenneth Kaunda, individuals like Jumbo Kienta, individual like Sekou Touré, individual like Kwame Nkrumah, individuals like Nelson Mandela, individuals like what's the guy name? Samura Machel, individuals, great individuals like Thomas Sankara, individual like Madivo Keita. His spirit is lingering over the country of Mali. Understand? As long as that spirit continue to safeguard the people of Mali, no internal, no external enemies will triumph. It is time that the Malian people unite, come together, put aside your differences. Because if your country is free, if your country is independent, finally, you will be able to live in peace, tranquility, and prosperity, and be able to think. There's no way you're creative if you're living in instability. No one think when there is war. No one are creative in war situation or in instability. You are creative and prosperous when there are peace, security, and stability in your country. This is the prayer for this month, for the people of Mali, for the people of Niger, and the people of Burkina Faso, and the entire continent, that the ancestors, wherever they are, that they continue to watch over our continent, watch over the people of the continent, and making sure that they can come together. I mean, no level of talking. That's why I don't talk much. I pray to the ancestors. Because everything that they've talked, there's many ideas out there about unity for Africa. Many ideas. But guess what? These are all talks. And another thing I would say is the day all these so-called religious groups in Africa can come together, that would be Muslims, Islam, that would be Christianity, whatever. I know our traditional tribal religion, they already doing their thing. I know they're doing their thing in Burkina Faso. They're doing their thing in Niger. They're doing their thing in Mali. And I hope they can come more and more, because those were powers that were given to them by the ancestors to use them against these enemies. Use them. Forget about the religion they give you. That religion is passive. That religion they give you is not even indicative of them, because they don't practice nothing in that religion. The Europeans give you that religion. They don't practice. The Arabs give you that religion. They don't practice them. Look at Sudan. Did you know that the same Arabs that give them the religion are the same one that are promoting the chaos in Sudan? The same people. That religion is just a way for them to control your thinking or your thinking process. Forget about that religion. Whatever their religions are, give it back to them. Go back to the religion of our ancestors. When they came and saw what we're doing, they saw how powerful our religion was. Because religion is whatever you do every day. You understand? If you do something every day, it's religion. The way you do it, the frequency at which you do it, your intention of doing it, that's religion, right? It's not just faith. Faith is different. Faith, you have faith. Your faith has nothing to do with religion. It's something you're born with. Your religion is anything you do every day. Become part of you. So yeah, we need to go back. That's our power, and they took it away. And they give us emptiness. You know, God that doesn't talk. A God that doesn't see. A God that does nothing. He sit up there. They say he's up there, but I say he's in you. I say the same thing that Yeshua Mashiach said, Jesus the Christ, that God is in you. You is God. And you say, yeah, a God. So that God that tell you up there, it's not there. It's a lie. And the God that tells you doesn't do nothing is the same God, that's in you, that's in Guetta, the president of Mali. It's the same God that's in Traore, Ibrahim Traore, and what's the guy? It's Tiani of Niger. You understand? Is that God that's quickening him to stand up in the first place and say we need change? That's only human beings can make change for themselves. But you can't do it without the God in you. The God in you is what wakens you to do it, to make the change for you and subsequently for your people. These people must have changed their lives. Because in order for you to change your country, you must change your own life. If your life is not better, you can't change anything. The change that you're looking for must reflect in your lives. And that's what we're praying, great ancestors, for. That you can start to change the lives of the people of Mali, the lives of all the people in Africa, Niger, Burkina Faso, all the places that are hotbeds now in Africa. Sudan too. Anywhere in Africa, there's chaos. You look at this country, they have things that people want. Sudan has something that they want. So they're going to be there. If you just think this colonialism has to do with Europe, no. It's in the Arabian colonialism too. Look at them. They're embedded with colonialists. Iran is not, the Iranians are not Arabs. They're not. They're not Arabs. So they don't embed themselves with colonialists. They don't have anything in common with colonialists. But look at the Arab countries. They're all embedded with colonialists. So they're doing the same thing that they're doing. Colonialists are doing in Africa. They too are doing the same thing too. There's evidence all over the place. So the Arabs are not exempted from this too. Even in slavery, the Arabs were there. And you know, great ancestors, that they took you to that place called the so-called Middle East. They took you there, slaves. Castrated you so that you don't mess with their wives. You understand? So the Arabs are not exempted from this. So yeah, great ancestor, we want to thank you. We know that Mali, Burkina Faso, Niger will be free. As that guy said in Amistad, the movie, the slave movie, give us free. Give the Malian people free. France, stay out of their country. They're old enough now to move on their own. If they're your children now, like you say, they're old enough to move on their own. You understand? So let them go. Free them. Pharaoh is saying, they're saying to Pharaoh, Pharaoh, let my people go. Pharaoh, let my people go. Pharaoh, let my people go. You see that book? The Bible? It's the same thing playing again. The Malian people, they're at the Red Sea or Black Sea, whatever sea. And then Moses is Guetta. He's trying to part the sea for them to cross into the promised land. Niger, Burkina Faso, they are at the, when I say Red Sea, Black Sea, I'm talking about they are at the intersection, they are at the crossroad of their liberation, their freedom. And they're just waiting to be parted, the sea to be parted so they can cross into the promised land. And I know they will, says the ancestors. I want to thank all those people that continue to watch my videos. I want to thank those people that subscribe to my channel, the genuine ones, not the ones that are hidden in. Because every time I do a video, I'll call you out. And I'm just sitting there. Those who are genuinely on my channel, I want to honor you. Those who are smiling and just watching to see what I say, I don't have no regard for you. You need to get off my channel. And I want to thank all those people that watch my video and support me. Thank you. And most importantly, as I've always said, the greatest thing that could ever happen to anyone is not the day you were born, not the day you had your first car, the day you graduated from high school, the day you had your first child, the day you became a lawyer, doctor, whatever it is that you're working on. The greatest thing that could ever happen to you is the day you discover yourself. Because from that day on, my friends, everything, absolutely everything, will start to make sense to you. You become wise, become knowledgeable, and you know yourself, discover the self, and you will see all of those things that are in darkness will start to unveil themselves to you. You will see them, and they'll make sense. Again, I hope that you are in good health and that all is pleasant for you. Have a pleasant day. Thank you.